Hello and welcome back to another CommLink Reacts. I'm Stubb and I'm joined by Silvius. How's it going, man?
What's going on? Let's watch this Arrasted Development.
Yeah, brand new Inside Star Citizen video just dropped today. We've not watched this video yet, so this is going to be a first-time reaction for both of us.
All right, let's see what we got.
The Argo SRV is the tow truck of the universe. It is that single player, I want to rescue, recover, retrieve other vehicles in the game.
SRV stands for Standard Recovery Vehicle.
It's for tugging other ships around. Maybe they're disabled, maybe it's a difficult docking situation that needs help.
It's meant for when you've got ships stranded out in space that they need some help. You're there with your flashing lights and your bright orange ship to go and rescue them.
It's for the player that wants to help rather than go out murdering.
You often go out murdering?
Yeah. I often go out murdering.
Don't we all?
Argo has a very strong visual style in our game, so there's a few kind of core elements that we knew we had to have. It's got to be orange, there's no question about that. It needs to have kind of VTOLs that rotate, it needs to have big engines at the back, and it needs to feel kind of super industrial and very functional compared to a lot of our other manufacturers. One of the things that we learned early on when we were doing Argo ships as a manufacturer is, as the orange is such a bold color, we really want to kind of keep that contained as much as we can. So what we try and do now with our Argo ships is we still want them to be orange, we still want them to be very recognizable, but we want that all to be contained within one area, and then the underside is kind of like the more mechanical area and the kind of black bellies. And I think that difference between the tops and bottoms really helps to add some believability to the vehicle. Not everyone loves orange, so we will have different paint options available.
The Argo SRV has 3 tints. It has a really nice white one and a black and yellow one, which is my favorite. And it has also this blue beigey one, which I think out of all the ships is kind of new for Argo, that kind of color combination. My favorite thing about the exterior of the SRV is that it's very consistent with both the mole and the raft. It has this diamond shape on the top with the circular feature. I like that kind of consistency. It really feels like a family of ships.
Yeah, I really like the Argo design.
The SRV didn't have much of an interior, but we pushed for like a bigger one.
They really are keeping it
tried to balance both the Argo utility feeling that everyone loves, along with keeping it nice enough that you could bring in a couple of explorers whose ship's down. You'll enter the engineering area. This is actually where you enter the ship. The airlock or the lift is in the floor of that room. Within this room contains all the components for the SRV. It's kind of like the raft's corridor, but all compacted and refined more into a single space, so everything's kind of jammed in there. So you can access everything at once if you need to. Moving on, you'll go onto the bridge. You'll sort of be greeted by your standard Argo styling, your space trucker seat, your ball bars and your nice angled glass. Then moving on to the rear of the ship, you've got the habitation area. In the habitation area, you've also got bed for if you're long hauling, the suit locker
real working man
for going
ship.
into hazardous places.
Yes, sir.
And like a gun rack, so you've still got that utility in there as well.
My favorite little bit about that is it's got like a sort of like rest and recovery area for the person being rescued. So they don't have to stay in their busted up soft ship. They can come over to the SRV, sit at the table, get like a recovery coffee.
That you can kind of sit down and look out and you can see your ship being towed by the SRV.
This is what I wanted to see more of, the actual towing.
The Argo SRV has a very large tractor and towing beam assembly on the rear of the ship that the pilot controls. So they navigate towards the vehicle, swap to the turret view that controls the tractor beam, and then they position it and lock onto that ship.
More beam gameplay.
Beam Citizen.
You tow
Reasons why you would use it. Maybe you've run out of fuel and you don't want to pay some exorbitant South Air owners fees to refuel. You want your friend to come tow you back to a spaceport. And most importantly,
Most people don't know that you can get repaired from soft def now. But obviously, you won't be in a safe place if you got put into soft def. So the SRV is going to come along, tow your ship to a safe location where it can get repaired. It's like a car recovery vehicle if you break down on the motorway sort of thing.
It can be towed back to a spaceport, and then that ship can be repaired back to a state of flight.
I didn't know you could repair soft
the
def.
resource management system comes into play, because you won't always be in full soft def. You could have messed up your engines.
Thrusters could have malfunctioned. Power plants could be worn out and need replacing. All these things are going to result in ships that are fairly immobile or ground vehicles that are immobile. And we don't want players to just simply go and claim on their insurance for these things as their first port of call. We want people to recover it. It's going to be much more beneficial to you in the short and long term.
It is really cool.
In terms of using the SRV, the shields need to be down on the target vehicle or ship. So that could be the player has willingly lowered their shields, or they're in a state where the shields no longer function. And it needs to be not fighting against the SRV in terms of movement.
The idea of making a tow truck, I think, is a great idea. When you're a little boy and you grow up and you see the breakdown vehicles sat at the side of the road with their flashing lights on, being able to kind of recreate that, but for our own audience, is super fun.
Be a space
that's
repo
the SRV,
man.
and it is another great entry point into a support career.
We've got a lot of combat and commerce type ships, but it's the next true support class vehicle.
For those of you who don't want to fight, don't want to haul goods, the SRV is there to help you support other players and NPCs in the game.
You want me to say I'll be a tow truck driver? I'm more of a Drake guy.
So you're more of the getting towed guy.
I'm definitely more of the getting towed guy. Yeah,
Hey,
I
now.
will need a friend with an SRV nearby.
It's for good people who like to help others, unlike Drake owners.
Oof.
The Intergalactic
Whoa.
Aerospace Expo is our
going
annual
on?
celebration of all things ship and vehicle in the
Shots
Star
fired.
Citizen universe. Whether that's alien starters like the Gattac Sulin, stylish cargo craft like the Crusader Spirit C1, personal people tanks like the Tumble Storm, or the recently made flyable space tow truck, the Argo SRV. And yes, I know, and I can already see the YouTube comments now.
We already got that ship yesterday.
Well, I like spaceships, and I like the people that make spaceships, and I like showcasing their development. But I hear you. So let's move things forward and discuss the new concept vehicle that's making its debut this Saturday, the RSI Arrastra.
Here we go.
Can't wait to get Jared on the show.
Last year for CitizenCon, we did a vote to decide what vehicle you wanted to see next, and the winner was the mining ship. So what we ended up doing is the large RSI mining ship, which has turned out to be the RSI Arrastra.
What is Arrastra?
Hey, we were saying it right.
Absolutely no idea.
Primitive mill
Arrastra.
that's used in grinding ores, I think.
The name Arrastra derives from the ancient mining tool and technique.
So in Star Citizen, we have a number of mining ships already. We've got the Prospector, which is kind of like your starter outer. The Mole is that kind of first multi-crew ship. It allows you to go out with a few friends and kind of try and work a profit together. And then the top of the scale, we've got the Orion. That's the kind of end game of mining. And we saw this gap
2 more years.
between the two. So the RSI Arrastra is the ship that fills that gap. So the Arrastra kind of combines the core visual elements that we've kind of developed over the years of RSI. It still has that definite triangular arrowhead shape to it, so it still feels at home within the RSI family. One of the things we struggled with a little bit at the beginning when concepting it was we didn't want it to feel too sleek. It really needs to feel like it had a functional purpose, and that really led us down exposing a lot more of the industrial elements. We've built on the idea of RSI layering in their ships to kind of really expose the core framework of the ship down the central kind of columns.
It also has a much more comfortable habitation for the crew to live on. It's got plenty of utility on board for day-to-day life, as well as a place to actually land additional vehicles in the back.
It has everything you need to
really nice.
spend a large amount of time away from dock, away from station. It's got an onboard refinery. It's got a large amount of ore storage, as well as onboard cargo. It's a kind of big, serious mining ship, and it allows for a crew of up to 5 to kind of go out and really kind of step into that professional level mining outfit without requiring, a big capital ship.
We have multiple stations for different people to actually mine at the same time as each other.
They're all sat together in a very RSI-like bridge section.
The bridge
The
looks
remote
cool.
turrets that are on the Astra
Yes, it does.
all have some level of transformation in terms of their location. The two at the front can slide backwards and forwards along, so you don't require the pilot to have to go left a bit, go right a bit.
But then we also have a large one in the center, which can descend through the middle of the ships.
Can actually transform down through the ship and out the bottom to cover the underside. So
think I'm a
really
fan
you
of
can
this ship.
mine in 360 degrees with this ship.
And as it cuts through the ship, you can actually see the turret as it travels from one side to the other.
And then additional crew members can help either position the ship if they want to change location or deal with the mined goods at the rear of the ship in the cargo bay. But the ship can also hold ground mining vehicles. If you are planet side, some of those crew members could take mining vehicles that you've stored aboard out and do some surface mining whilst the ship hangs around nearby to tackle some ground mining rocks. So this ship is really perfectly placed for people who want to go mining but don't quite know what they're going to encounter along the way. They are equipped to tackle anything on the surface, anything on space.
One of the benefits of concepting the Arrasted now is that we know a lot more about our game, a lot more about how mining works and kind of features in the game. That gives us a much better understanding of what's important for a mining ship. And that's one of the things that we'll take on to when we kind of deliver the Orion in the future.
So this is a great example of how development on some ships improves and expedites others. Compared to the Orion, this bridges the gap in a few nice ways. It leverages all the existing mining loops and mechanics that we have in-game at the moment, whereas the Orion is going to be solely mining in space. It is a big ship designed for sitting out in deep space, mining big asteroids. It won't be capable of going down to planet size and mining on there.
What we kind of learned from the Orion is that a lot of our RSI ships feel very, very aggressive. They feel very military and fast. And if you think of like a big industrial mining ship, the Orion is kind of the opposite to that. It's this huge kind of bulky ship that is very purpose-built. And what we want to do with the Arrasted is take the lessons that we'd learned from that and combine that with some of the more modern RSI art styles and manufacturing techniques.
The Arrasted is the sort of all-in-one mining ship. You've started hand mining at the very start. You've progressed to, say, a rock as the next step, then a prospector, then a mole. This is the big step that lets you do a bit of everything. You can mine, you can refine, you can transport. And then if you want to go even deeper into that, then you go off to the Orion at the end.
So what did we learn this week?
Sweet.
Well, we learned that the SRV is another fine addition to the working class gameplay Argo always seems to specialize in. That the RSI Arrastra wants to be the next big step in the evolution of mining gameplay before its even bigger Orion sibling arrives farther down the line. And that IAE continues to be the biggest ship and vehicle event of the year. But it's also Thanksgiving. And today, while we continue to always give thanks to you, the citizens of the verse who make all of this possible, I want to give a special thanks personally to the folks behind the ships. Now, all of the ships and vehicles in Star Citizen are only made possible by the variety of content, gameplay, and feature teams all contributing to their look, feel, performance, and overall experience. Despite a few YouTube comments that seem to think Dan McCabe makes some of these things all by himself. Because there's like 62 people on the vehicle content team alone. If only there were a way to make everybody remember that. Perhaps with the power of song. All right, relax. I wouldn't do that to you. Even I'm not that cringe. So for Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week.
That was nice. So
Here. So like,
oh.
And now, the developers of our vehicles by Disco Lando.
Kingsley Von Walker, Nate Lang, Adam Parker, Chris Law, Ben Curtis, John Crew, Alberto Petronio, Ben Parr, and Luke Mello, George Coffin, Rich Towler, too, Corey Benford, Aaron Egan, and Patrick Solano, Al Parker, Mark Gibson, and Still, Kevin Turney, then Beamal, and Jin, and Zaheen, and Josh Crow, and Jay Thompson, Lars Lopkins, Samuel Brito, Chris Diggs, Bradley Vincent, Tom Hoskins, Chris Smith, April Dillons as well, Matt Vieira, Matt Monty, Matt Gron Jones, Evan Jr., Cy Bulmer, and Dunk. Owen and Alex and Alman and Haiti and Leif Livio and Lorenzo. Davender, Peliquin, Dan Dexter Taylors, and don't forget Man and Triero. With Hosmer McCabe and then Bartram and Tobero, Cooney and Dree and Kel Norris. I'm way past my time, but we still have designers like Josh Lee, Pete Tom and Mercedes. There's Stocko and Adam and Corwin and Harry and Ben.
Great. We don't deserve Jared.
That's awesome. That was so good.
We don't deserve Jared. He's great.
Oh man. Yeah.
I was just about to say I was really disappointed we didn't get that musical, but thank you, Jared.
Yeah, that was cool. Great looks at the SRV and the Arrastra. Dude, we're not miners, right? We don't go out into the verse and do a lot of mining. And I haven't had a ton of interest in it, although I do still feel like it's a game we need to try and figure out. I liked everything they showed about that Arrastra, though. Like, usually when they show off mining stuff, I'm like a little checked out, but that ship looked really great. The design of it, the functionality that they were describing, I think they said it was intended for a crew of 5 people. Just top to bottom, the Arrastra looks really nice. And I think that the SRV looks cool too. We were talking a little bit about that consistency, and they were in the video as well, the consistency that they have in the Argo designs. And I think they might be, at least in my opinion, like one of the most consistent looking manufacturers so far.
Yeah, I would agree.
It really makes them feel realistic. You know what I mean? Like I could see, assuming that all this space tech really existed in real life, like I could see Argo being an actual manufacturer.
I really like the industrial look.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's cool too that not everything has to be orange, right? They're gonna have a few different skins available as well. But yeah, everybody that's been working on those Argo ships, bravo. And again, that Arrastra, I won't pledge for it, but I also simultaneously look forward to playing on it, which again, like I've not really said about a mining ship before.
Neither one of us really.
What did you think?
We really don't know a whole lot about mining. Like, I know how it functions and stuff, but I don't really know the nuances of it and how to make max profit and best places to go and stuff like that. So a lot to learn with mining there. I think we've discussed it before. I don't enjoy the mining in Star Citizen as much as I enjoyed it in Elite Dangerous. Just because it's another beam gameplay kind of. And they didn't really mention evolution in mining with the ship either. I feel like it's still going to be more or less the same, beams and stuff. And I always enjoy that like multi-crew like gameplay, like everybody getting on a ship and tackling a goal and making money. So yeah, it's something I would definitely like to try out and learn how to mine. Looks like a cool ship to be a crew member on. So yeah, I like it. It looks cool. So definitely looking forward to it.
Yep. Bravo. Really good ISC. And dude, the musical at the end, like there's no replacing Jared, right?
Yeah.
Truly one of a kind.
Some people give him a hard time, but we love Jared here. He does a great job at what he does. So always appreciate his hard work.
Yep. Absolutely. And speaking of appreciating, being thankful, with it being Thanksgiving at the time of the recording, thanks everybody for checking out this CommLink React to the latest ISC Arrasted Development. And thank you for chilling with us. And if you have any particular thoughts on either the SRV or the Arrastra, please let us know down below. For a mining ship, it looks really cool. I like it a lot. The SRV, I'm not sure how much towing gameplay I'll be getting into personally, but I am a fan that it's there. And also, I know we're doing like outro stuff right now too, but we didn't really touch on it too much. The fact that you can repair from soft death is a really cool tidbit of information. I guess the reason why we haven't really realized that before is because we didn't have a ship to tow our soft death ships around to a landing pad to even try to see if it would work, right?
Yeah.
So
that's a really cool feature.
Opens up a whole new avenue of getting your ship back in working order. So that is very cool indeed. Silvius, thanks so much for hanging out and doing this reaction. It's a good time as always.
Oh yeah.
We'll be back with more reaction videos and podcast episodes. If you have not checked out our other reaction videos, we have a playlist on our channel. And if you've not checked out the podcast yet, there is a playlist for the podcast as well, where we talk all things Star Citizen and Squadron 42. Until next time, be safe, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.